So if you see my last video, you know that I got COVID. It's day 7 of my quarantine, so I got 3 more days left, I believe. I still feel like absolutely horrible. But it's been 7 days and I am just bored out of my mind. And a couple of you guys suggested to do a story time. So story time by Axley Pablo, the worst day of my life. Where do I even start the story? I mean, I guess I'll just jump into it. So I think it was like 2016, 2017. So I think I was maybe 19 years old. My living situation was kind of sticky. So I was staying at my homie Brandon crib. There was this gym that was a few blocks away from his house. And every week, every Tuesday or something like that, they had an open gym where it was free. Now you usually have to pay $5 to get in, but on Tuesdays, the guy was real cool. He let everybody in for free. So it was that Tuesday and I'm in the crib. I'm playing Mortal Kombat or something like that. I'm in his house just chilling with his grandma. And so he heads out and he goes to the gym. So I get a call from him maybe 30 minutes later. And he's like, yo, the gym is open. It's free right now. Could you trying to slide? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm trying to slide. I'm always trying to hoop. And he was like, okay, cool. So could you bring me a pair of shorts before you get here? So I'm like, okay, cool. So I finish up my games and I head out. I grab a pair of his shorts and then I head out. So the gym was maybe a block away from his house. It's literally 2 minutes away. So it was a straight shot to the gym. So I walk out, I'm walking over there, about to stop over by the store and get a Gatorade or something like that for me and him. So I walk inside of the gym. Now, to get more context, there was this dude, I don't know what his name was. I don't know nothing about this dude. I don't know who he was. All I knew was that he worked there. And every time he saw me, bro, he was on dirt with me. I don't know what I did to this man, but he hated me. So I walk in there and I'm walking up to the desk to go talk to the lady who's over there. I look in the gym, I see my homie Brandon, and then it's my other homie Jonathan. They were like, yo, you need 5 to get in. And I was like, oh, I thought it was free. And they was like, no, we need that 5 from you, bro. And I'm like, I ain't even got it on right now. I was hurting. The lady was like, okay, cool. We know we ain't gonna stress you or whatever, but next time, how to 5. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I got you, I appreciate you. The guy who I had dirt with, so I'm signing in. So look, okay, so there was a clipboard there, so you have to sign in. So I'm signing in on the clipboard. Then the guy who I had dirt with, he just walks up. And he's so he sees me all in the back, right? So he runs up, G. And so he's like, what's up? And I'm like, yo, what's good? And then he's like, you got the money today? And I'm like, bro, no. I'm she just told me I could slide in, whatever. Next time I got you, I promise. And he nah, bro, you gonna have to get the fuck up on about it here. Ooh. I'm like, bro, why are you stressing me? But I wasn't even in the gym yet. I was just outside, but I was still waving to all of my other homies that I saw in there. And he's like, nah, bro, cut that out. You gotta go. And I'm like, go? I'm like, why you bugging out, bro? I'm like, I was just chilling or whatever. Okay, so I turn around and I'm like, yo, man, I'm like, what's your problem with me, bro? Why you always fronting me, G? I've done nothing wrong to him. If I did something wrong, tell me, let's talk. And he I don't have no problem with you, but he get up out of here. You don't have the money, you always coming in here, you broke, woo. I'm like, damn, bro, first of all, I just graduated high school. I'm 18, bro. I'm first of all, relax. Second of all, I'm it's not that I don't always have money. I'm usually the guy who runs the gym, he lets us in for free. So I'm not freeloading. I'm 18 years old. I'm just trying to work out, trying to hoop, spend some time with my friends, but before I never see them again. Then me and the dude, we get into it. And then the nice lady, she's like, yo, you gotta go. And I'm like, man, I'm not gonna go nowhere. I'm this dude is always pressing me. I'm you said I could go into the gym. Let me just go into the gym and work out and have some fun. And she's like, no, you've been disrespectful. You gotta go. I'm but he was disrespecting me first. He came up here calling me broke, all type of names. I did nothing to this man. That's her coworker. She looking out for him, whatever. So I see my homie Brandon. I'm like, yo, I got your shorts in my bag. So he come out, he grab them. And he go back into the gym. So I'm I ain't going nowhere, G. So they okay, you gotta go. So the cops come. So 3 police officers show up. First of all, I'm 18 years old. 3 big dumbass cops show up. And they're what's going on? So the dude's yo, he's causing a ruckus. He doesn't want to leave, blah, blah, blah. And they're yo, you got to go. So I'm okay, cool. So I don't want no trouble. So I walk outside, right? And I go to the store again and I buy another Gatorade because I gave him a Gatorade. I forgot to buy myself a Gatorade. So I buy another Gatorade. So I'm walking back to his crib. Remember what I said? The crib was a few blocks away. So it's you have to go past the gym to get back to the house. So as I'm walking through the parking lot, this short Mexican dude runs up on me. And he's yo, are you Dwayne? And I'm yeah. I'm do I know you? And he's why
are you DMing my girl? I see you in her inbox.
And I don't know. I'm well, who's your girl? He's throwing all N-words around. I'm okay, cool, whatever, bro. I'm already pressed. I just want to go back in the crib, play some games, wait for my homie to get off work so we can go bust a move or do something. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, all right, bro. So he's still pressing me, bro. And I'm like, why is everybody pressing me today? So I'm like, bro, I don't know who your girl is. And so he keeps pressing me. So I'm like, bro, you need to ask yourself. I'm like, first of all, you a lame for going through your girl phone. Like, let's get that out of the way. You a whole lame for that. Second of all, I'm like, did you ever think to ask yourself, like, why is your girl messaging me back? Like, straight up, like, if that was your girl, you wouldn't be hitting me back in the first place. I wouldn't. Yo, relax, chief. So I start walking away, and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, bro, I don't want no problems. I just want to go home. Like, I'm tired. So I start walking back to the house. And as I'm walking away, he's like, that's what I thought. Or some shit like that. He was like, yeah, that's what the fuck I thought, bro. And I was like, so I turn around, I'm like, what you think, bro? And he like, you're a pussy, like, blah, blah, like, all these N-words. He's like, nigga. I'm like, oh my God, bro. So I'm like, all right, bro. I'm like, what's up? I'm like, what do you want to do, bro? I'm like, I want to do whatever you want to do. Like, whatever you want to do, I want to do. If you want to walk away, I want to walk away. If you want to fight, I want to fight. Whatever you want to do, I want to do. You call it and we'll do it. He like takes his shirt off. He starts walking up to me. So as soon as he starts walking up to me, I hit him with one of these. Boom, right to his face. He hit the ground. So I'm standing over him and I'm like,
what's up? I'm like, get up. I'm like, what's up? Get up. I'm like, what's up?
Now I'm hyped. This is really like real life the first time I ever like legit like just knocked somebody out. Like my hand was hurt, but I'm like, bro, I'm like hype as hell. Now it was this old ass lady who was like at the end of the block and she saw it. So she instantly pulled out her joint and called the cops. And I'm like, but I don't even know how I peeped that, bro. But like I was like looking around. I'm like, who saw this? I'm like, I'm so hyped. I was looking around to see who saw it so other people could be hyped with me. And so I peeped the old lady. She pulled out her joint. She called the cops. I'm like, but I wasn't thinking about it that much. I'm like, bro, whatever. She probably like, about to record. So boom. So I'm still in the parking lot, right? I'm guessing when she was on the phone with the cops, the cops got the beat or whatever. But they was already in the gym because I was in there earlier. They came in there for me earlier. So they were already like right there. So the cops come out and they see me and they see the guy. But he got up already though. So they were like, okay, whatever. So the cops walk up to us saying like, yo, so what's going on? And then dude was like, nothing. And I'm like, nothing. And they like, yo, didn't we just tell you to leave the property? Like now you trespassing. I'm like, trespassing? I'm like, I'm not trespassing on nobody. I'm like, what you talking about? I'm on my way back to the crib. And he's like, we just told you to leave. So then the dude who was running the gym at the time, he comes out and he sees me again. He's like, this guy again? And then the cop looks at him. He's like, what do you want us to do? He's like, do it. He's like, I'll write it up right now. And the cop's just like, all right. So the cop's like, grabs my arm. So he grabbed me out, snatched away. I'm like, bro, don't touch me, bro. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then so he make so once I snatch away, he go. And he grabbed me again. I'm like, hey, get the fuck up. I'm like, didn't I just tell you not to touch me, bro? Like, why are you bugging out? So then he grabs me again, like up here, and then the other cop grabs it right here. So I'm like, why do these people keep touching me, bro? So then the third cop's like, oh, this nigga is strong as hell, bro. I'm like, all right, cool, bro. So then they all like grab me, and then they like grab me up, put me in the cuffs, and I'm like, bro, what is going on right now? So they put me in the cuffs, and then I have a book bag on. So while I'm like this, they cut the book bag up on me. So they cut up my book bag. I'm like, bro, y'all could have just took the cuffs off me. And they like, we can't take the cuffs off you, you might run. I'm like, bro, I ain't finna run, bro. Like, this is my only book bag. They're like, all right, cool, bro, you should have just listened. So they pull out their knife, they cut my book bag up, and now they searching through my bag. I got like a Gatorade and a pair of shorts and then like some like bag of chips or something like that. I'm like, bro, so I'm wearing the fit too. Like I had this nice like jacket. It was yellow and black. It was so nasty, bro. So they grab that, they go in my pockets, they grab my phone, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So they put me in the back of the car. The cops was real cool, man. Like I realized that like I was bugging out. I could have just left like if I was just being cool, but I was high-headed. I just hit the dude. Like my adrenaline was running. Like I wasn't thinking. Put me in the back of the car, bro, and they drive me to the station. We pull up and then they put me out and then they put me in this room, right? So while I'm cuffed, they handcuff me to this wall. And then they take my jacket and my shoes, and then they take the like shoelaces out, and then they cut up my jacket, bro. Like I had strings in it. They cut it up, bro. Like, oh, I was so mad. If you've never been arrested, trust me, first of all, trust me, you don't want to be. Bro, it is so cold in there, bro. Like, it is freezing up in there, bro. And plus, they take your jacket and everything. So if you have a jacket on, they take everything from you. So you just like in a t-shirt and a pair of pants, or whatever you got on. And at that point, I was wearing shorts. So like, I was dying in there. And I'm like lying on this like flat, like hard ass surface. Like I'm handcuffed to the wall, so I can't move. I can't like walk around and do nothing. I'm probably there for like maybe like an hour. When I tell you that hour felt like forever. My spirit was hella broken. In my head, I'm like, I'm 18. Like, I'm like, man, I'm just thinking like, they probably finna lock me up in here. I'm finna get out of here tonight or whatever. Like, they probably finna let me out of here in like an hour or two. Like, I'm still handcuffed to the wall, then another hour go by. So then the dude comes back in and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, thank God this dude is here. And so he unhandcuffs me from the wall and he's like, yo, stand up. And I'm like, what? And he's like, stand up. And I'm like, okay. So I stand up. And then he searches me again. He handcuffs me back to the wall. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, don't fuck. At least let me walk around, bro. Like, spirits broken, like tired, hungry. I'm freezing. Like, bro, it was like the worst place to be. Like, oh man. So they bring me back to the other place. And then they start like, they're like staying here. So they take my mug shots and then they get my fingerprint stuff. So I'm thinking I'm about to leave. And they put me in this other cell, like with the door. So then they throw me in there. It's still cold as hell. And they slam the fucking door, and I'm like, fuck. So I have my shoes on. I'm there for maybe like 2 hours, bro. Like in this small ass room, there's like a dirty ass toilet, and then it's just like no space. Like I could literally like put my arms out and like in my legs and touch everything. Like that's how small it was. So I'm there for like maybe like an hour and a half. In my head, I'm like, bro, if I ever make it out of here, I'm like, I will never break another law again in my life, bro. I'm like, I will be straight edge for the rest of my life. They let me out this joint. Every hour that goes by, I'm praying that somebody like comes by. There's no clocks in there either, so you don't even know what time it is. So I'm in there for maybe like another 2 hours, bro. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, please somebody let me out, bro. So finally, after I just like gave up all hope, I'm like, I'm just gonna be in here. Like, I'm like, this is it for me. Like, this is where my life's come to. I'm like, if I would have just been cool, walked away. See, like at that point, everything, what's running through your mind at that point is everything you could have done to avoid this. Like, if I would have just let dude keep talking and like, or just been cool with the lady, or just going back to the crib, maybe got $5, just walked away from that dude, not snatched away from the cops, just went home, like, I would not be in this position right now. Like, you should start thinking about like what you could have been doing other than being trapped in this cell. All right, so these are your papers. You got a court date, blah, blah, blah. Whoa, he's like, it was a very minor offense. So, you know, you just turned 18, it's your first offense, blah, blah, blah. So it's probably not gonna be nothing. He gives me this like these couple sheets of paper. He's like, this is your bond. It's like $1,500. He's like, if you go over to the front, you can grab your phone, your jacket, your book bag, blah, blah. I'm like, my book bag was torched. I'm like, what book bag? So they gave me all my stuff. I walk out of there, my wallet, everything. I walk out of there. Pitch black. No idea what time it is. Never been to the police station, so I have no idea where I am. I'm like, where am I, bro? Like, find a bus, make my way back to the crib, to my homie crib. Slide in, lay down. And then when I lay down, bro, I'm just appreciating, like, even though I was laying on the floor, like I didn't have a bed there because it wasn't my crib, I was just appreciating like, just like being able to get up and go to the bathroom and like walk around and just go outside and just like enjoying my freedom, bro. Yeah, man, that was hands down by far the worst day of my life. It just was not cool. It was not cool. It was not a good experience. It was not fun. It wasn't like, you know, anybody talk about it. If being in that cell for those like 8-9 hours was that bad for me, I can only imagine how it is for people who's actually locked up, man. Like, shout out to them, man. Blessings out to them wherever they at, whether they in there because they deserve it or not. I mean, it's just not fun. I mean, if you deserve to be in that, then, you know, whatever. But like, free all the guys, free all the gang, you know. There's still people up in there that, you know, that's hurting, that's, you know, trying to survive, get back to their families. So shout out to those guys, man. And shout out to you guys for watching the video. Thank you so much. That's gonna be the end of the video. That's my story time. That is the worst day of my life. And now that I think about it, that might not even be the worst day of my life. I found that bad. But the experience was horrible. I don't know. But that's it. I ain't gonna talk too much about it. But that's gonna be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you made it all the way through to here. If you did,